Scott, good to see you, brother. How you doing? How you been? How's things? How you doing today? How's your parents? Parents are doing brilliant. Glad you could make it tonight. Let's go, Scott. And you're the first one in today as well. What up, Miles and CMF? Kerry, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? Mike, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Good, you? Thanks for asking. Let's go, Scott. Come on, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? How's things? First again, yes. Let's go, Scott. Hi, Miles and CMF. Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So let's do a breakdown of what we're going to be talking essentially through on tonight's live. And by that time, everyone's tuning in for the first part. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. Hey, brother Dale, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Now, on tonight's episode of the CMF Live, we're going to be talking about a perspective. The first news we're going to go through on tonight's live is regarding a perspective coming through essentially from a CEO of a blockchain association company based out of the United States. And then we're going to be going through on tonight's live regarding news topic of JP Morgan. JP Morgan has essentially done their fourth report on what they see as the outcomes of the elections, Bitcoin moving forward, cryptocurrencies in general, and also Bitcoin minings. Apparently the Bitcoin mining companies inside the United States are struggling with the amount of pressure that's on them right now. We're also going to be talking about Coinbase on tonight's live as well. Coinbase's Q3 reports that I recently revealed about 2 nights ago, which did disrupt the crypto market space just over slightly, has now essentially revealed some other notes that was on their reports that was not revealed to the news. So we're going to cover that on tonight's live as well. We're also going to be talking about Metamask on tonight's live as well. Metamask essentially consensus has SEC claims going on, new SEC claims going on, which we're going to cover on tonight's live. We're also going to be talking about US Treasury on tonight's live as well. The US Treasury in terms of blockchain can improve financial systems. So the US Treasury has came around and they're completely on board about the idea of moving into a blockchain system, a digital world. They think it's a massive positive. I think personally, US Treasury should have a sit-down conversation with Gary Gensler, because he's the only man that's stopping the progress. We're also going to be talking about UBS on tonight's live as well. UBS has decided to launch their first ever investment, tokenized investment, on Ethereum. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live regarding ETH, mainly because every time I talk about the new reports that are coming out from Goldman Sachs, Franklin Templeton, JP Morgan, all these reports that are coming out, they're all saying what price Bitcoin is going to reach for the elections and that cryptocurrencies are going to follow them through, depending on which presidential election is chosen. Is it going to be Trump or is it going to be Kamala Harris? But we have reports from Standard Chartered Bank. Now, Standard Chartered Bank typically only gives out Bitcoin reviews. They've decided to give out an ETH review, what ETH could potentially reach as a price point if Trump is chosen as the next candidate or Kamala. We're also going to talk about tonight's live regarding Abu Dhabi. So the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi's investment firms have unveiled US Treasuries backed digital funds on 2 blockchains. I'm going to go through that on tonight's live as well. And also they're releasing their own token as well. Once we get to that news, I reveal what I mean. We're also going to talk about that the Bitcoin conference coming up very soon as well. The Bitcoin conference also in Abu Dhabi that's coming up very soon is going to be featuring a Trump family member, not Trump himself, but his son. Trump's son is going to be essentially a speaker at the next Bitcoin event coming up in Abu Dhabi. We're also going to talk about tonight's live regarding DBS Bank. A bank has decided to launch essentially their own stablecoin based out of Singapore, and Paxos is their chosen partner with themselves. We're also going to talk about tonight's live regarding Canada. The Canadian public company has decided to adapt MicroStrategy's essentially playbook. Now, there are many companies around the world that have adapted MicroStrategy's playbook. There's a company based out of Japan, MetaPlanet. There's 2 companies that are also based out of Canada as well. This is pretty much the 3rd company that's going to be following MicroStrategy's playbook on keep on buying Bitcoin no matter what the price is and backing it in their assets. We're also going to talk about an intriguing situation with the mobile company Huawei. Now, Huawei is pretty much a topic that we've never covered on this live because it has basically no relevance to crypto assets until now. And then we're going to talk about tonight's live regarding another XRP ETF which has been filed in. Now, the reason for this next XRP ETF filing is most likely due to the Grayscale ETF filing that's been happening as well. So, mixture of news to go through on tonight's live regarding another XRP filings. I'm going to go into bullet points and details on that new XRP ETF filings. We're also going to talk about, regarding Hawaii, the Hawaii news regarding CBDC is quite an interesting one. But we're also going to talk about multitude of news regarding perspectives and data reports and so on. So, if you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live. This is episode 194 of the CMF Live, which is absolutely amazing. Well, episode 194. On this live, as usual, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. The disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. We also do live Q&As on this live as well, which means if you have any comments, put them down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. And I just want to say thank you so much to everyone, because I'm getting notifications. Thanks so much to everyone that's been retweeting this live right at the beginning, who's putting me comments outside of the live on X as well, who's also been liking this live on X as well. And thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who's watching right now, who's also liking the video. So the CMF Live Show has officially started now. Welcome, everyone. Before we go for the first news, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see what's going on there, and then we'll go straight into the first news. Let's see what's happening here first. And as I said, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, don't be shy. Go further inside the comment section. I read out your name, and then you comment and give an answer if you do ask a question. Let's see where you're at. Manny, evening miles of CMF. Good to see you as well, Manny. How you doing? Hello to my CMF on YouTube. I hope everyone had a good day. Let's go, Scott. I left a message. He read it, but haven't called me back yet. I am good so far right now. Regarding the other day. No problem. Share the live. Let's go, Scott. Good evening, miles of CMF. Free and forever. Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, CMF friends. How you doing? How you been? Thompson, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Morning, miles of CMF. Shelley, good to see you as well. Morning, how you been? Demi, hi from London. How you doing, Demi? Good. JB, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? Looks like a lot of news tonight. We have a lot of reports news to go through. A lot of reports have been released, essentially. Hi, Miles. G, good to see you as well. How you doing? Looks like, yeah. Transitional for Kamala, transitional, okay. I mean, this person. Here we go. How has your Friday been, Miles? And CMF has been great, Lena. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF family. Is it time to turn on my CMF TV for facts news? Let's go. How you doing, Carl? Any news on HBAR? I was reading something today as it's in its usage regarding HBAR. So yesterday, that the most major news that came out regarding HBAR yesterday was HBAR is going to be used for some purposes regarding Coinbase and HBAR. Other than that, nothing else. Now, what we're going to talk about first on tonight's live is ignoring blockchain. Reasoning why is, so ignoring blockchain may cost politicians at the polls. A CEO of a digital chamber blockchain company has decided to come out with their perspectives that crypto is playing a massive role, and politicians want essentially votes. If they want people to vote for them, if they want to have a future in politics, they have to be pro-crypto, which they're not lying. So blockchain prominents argue that being anti-crypto is akin to being anti-internet back in the 1990s, meaning against technology that will disrupt the world, regardless of whether politicians support it or not. In the 2024 United States presidential elections, being hostile to the blockchain industry is being increasingly essentially expensive in terms of voting. According to Boring, the founder and CEO of advocacy group The Digital Chamber, based out of the United States, they said, "I think most people have really underestimated how important cryptocurrencies is to so many voters around the country," noted Boring during a webinar essentially hosted by the asset management firm Hashdex. He said 25% of Democrats said that if a candidate takes a positive position on cryptocurrencies, they would be more likely to vote for them. And 21% of Republicans said if a candidate takes a positive stance on cryptos, they're going to be much more likely to vote for them as well. So essentially the numbers are there. 70% of Democrats said that they would choose a pro-crypto candidate, and 21% of Republicans also said the same matter. Now, according to Boring, only 2% of Democrats said if a candidate takes a pro-crypto position, they would be much less likely to vote for them, while 3% of Republicans said the same thing. Now, they also went on to say you can pick up anywhere between 21% to 25% according to our polls, and you may lose maybe 2 to 3%. So this is a very risky adjusted position for candidates to take to be pro-crypto. The essentially Congress will be much more essentially decisive in the industry than most places essentially inside the United States, whereas the White House, for Samir, the chief information officer at Hashdex, the next term in Washington will be more likely bullish for digital assets than the past cycles, but regulations will not happen overnight, he explained. He said, we expect to see the next 4 years way more positive on policy sides than the last 4 years. And even if Trump is elected, we will get most likely Republicans sweeping in Congress. That's going to take a few months, maybe some years, until this actually becomes new regulations and full clarity inside the industry. However, regulatory agencies inside the country could expedite the process of clarity and encourage business developments inside the United States as well. And according to Boring, the SEC enforcement approach to crypto firms has drawn several companies away from the US in recent years. And he also said, I've traveled internationally quite a lot to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and all throughout Asia. And so many people I've met with just said that we're just closing the doors to the United States. We want to follow the law and we don't know what to do, which is not good to hear from CEOs around the world in terms of companies. And she also clarified that when a digital asset should be regulated by the SEC versus the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission, it would address 70% of the issues among the companies. A lot more relief could actually be done quickly one day by the right people than the wrong people. So a CEO of quite a big blockchain company based out of the United States came out basically and said that if you want to vote inside the United States as a presidential candidate or even in Congress, you have to be pro-crypto. The numbers are there for it. They also went on to say that they had multiple conversations with different CEOs of massive blockchain companies around the world, and every single one of them said they want to close the door to the United States. They said they will reopen their doors to the United States as a blockchain company if a right candidate is chosen to lead the United States into a pro-crypto world. Otherwise, crypto companies are going to be closing their doors to the United States forever. Not good things to be hearing. But they did say if basically Trump is chosen as the candidate, then the doors will probably reopen to crypto assets and regulations will be flowing in, and essentially Republicans will take over Congress to bring that matter in. Now, moving away from essentially a report that came out by a CEO blockchain association in the United States to JP Morgan. JP Morgan's analysts have published another Bitcoin report. This is the most active JP Morgan has ever been on doing reports every month on Bitcoin's movements. But this particular report is essentially on the Bitcoin mining industries. Apparently, the Bitcoin mining industries inside the United States are struggling slightly due to essentially tax issues that's going to be put on them, the pressure of taxes on the Bitcoin corporation, on the Bitcoin mining corporations inside the United States. There's a lot of pressure. Also, the demand is quite high from the institutions to be buying into Bitcoin, and they're not producing enough profits. And their computing power is slowing down, which is not great for Bitcoin in general. So, JP Morgan's analysts published new reports on Bitcoin for the 4th month in a row. Bitcoin mining revenues and profits continued to decline for the 4th consecutive month in October, which is odd because for the institutions that are just buying into Bitcoin through ETFs, for example, BlackRock is doing milestones, and essentially Franklin Templeton is doing milestones. There's a lot of Bitcoin ETF institutions out there that are doing absolute milestones. But on the other hand, the Bitcoin mining industry is struggling. Bitcoin mining revenue and profit continued to decline for the 4th consecutive months in October, according to a recent report study by JP Morgan. The report showed that the daily Bitcoin mining revenues and gross profits are experiencing a decline due to the increased competition and network difficulty. JP Morgan estimates that Bitcoin's miners earn an average of $41,800 per essentially a second in daily block revenues, rewards a 1% decrease from September, and hash rates, which means the total computing power used to mine and process a transaction on the Bitcoin network, serves as an indicator of both competition and mining difficulty. The report noted that the hash rate increases, the mining process becomes more competitive and affecting profitability. So they're basically saying that one of the main reasons that the Bitcoin network is struggling, or the Bitcoin industry is struggling, because there's too many transactions happening. There's too much activity happening on the Bitcoin network, which is putting a lot of pressure on the companies that are running the show for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin mining industries. The bank also noted that the gross profit from daily block rewards fell 2% in October, essentially reaching the lowest levels in recent records. Despite the decline in profitability, the report noted a significant increase in transaction fees towards the end of October as well. At one report, transaction fee occurred for 60% of the block records, providing miners with temporary relief in hash prices, a measure of daily revenue for mining companies. The report also noted from JP Morgan that significant increase in the Bitcoin network's average hash rates, which hit a record high number of 702, essentially, which is about 9% increase compared to September, and reflects intensifying competition among the Bitcoin miners. Analysts essentially from Smith and Charles noted that 7 days more essentially moving average network hash rates at the end of the month were at 748, a significant 18% increase compared to the end of September, and a 62% increase compared to the previous years. In contrast to the decline in revenue and profitability, the combined market values of the 14 publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies tracked by JP Morgan rose 14% to $23.9 billion. In October, the increase was led by firms expanding to high-performance computing, suggesting that diversification beyond traditional mining could provide resilience in volatile market conditions. So, the Bitcoin mining industry is struggling while the Bitcoin ETFs are picking up in speed. Too much activity on the Bitcoin networks is putting more pressure on the Bitcoin mining industry, and also apparently their computing power essentially is old, and that they need to go through a transition of spending money to fix that scenario. But according to JP Morgan, if we carry on like this, then the Bitcoin network is going to slow down drastically, and something needs to be done about it, according to their new report that came out. Now, moving on from the JP Morgan report on Bitcoin network to, because one side is doing profits regarding Bitcoin ETFs, while as the other side, the Bitcoin network is struggling, according to JP Morgan's numbers. But moving on from that to Coinbase news. But before we go for the Coinbase news, let's consider the comment section first. If you do have any answers, if you do have any questions, put them down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Okay, let's go through the comment section first before we go through the Coinbase news. And the Coinbase news is actually quite an interesting one as well. It's something that I revealed a few days ago, but now we have more added information on it. Let's see where we were at. No, we were here. George, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Professor Miles and the rest of the CMF family. Good to see you as well, Funky Brother. How you been? What have I missed, bro? We just went through some report news from a perspective of a CEO on the Bitcoin space. I heard UBS will be using Ethereum blockchain. UBS is not going to be using the Ethereum blockchain, essentially. So UBS is coming out with a tokenized fund that's going to be on Ethereum. If that's what you're referring to, yes, it is. And DBS is also coming out with a stable coin as well. DBS Bank and UBS Bank. Miles, could you please share your thoughts on BRICS meeting? What do you think will be in their next steps? So there is a BRICS essentially summit coming up very soon. What I think the BRICS essentially next steps are going to be is most likely moving forward on their payment systems. Yes, we know that essentially the Bank of International Settlements, as I revealed yesterday, is thinking about sidestepping regarding BRICS matters and so on. But I don't believe it's going to sidestep in any sort of a way, because because the Bank of International Settlements didn't mention they're going to sidestep. They answered the question very weirdly, is what I can say. But the next BRICS summit, they're going to be discussing with their new founding members, or with their additional members, BRICS Pay. Because the last thing we heard was Putin essentially talking about BRICS Pay and how they demoed off BRICS Pay in the BRICS summit, where they handed everybody a QR scan codes, and a demo version of BRICS Pay was being handed out for people to use with top-ups of 500 Russian rubles inside of them and so on. So they're most likely going to be discussing the matters of wholesale CBDCs, BRICS payment systems, and probably upgrades and updates on that matter. Miles, I'm afraid that Goldfish Kamala might just win this election, as I personally think that the elections might be slightly rigged. I said that yesterday. I feel like the elections might be slightly rigged as well. I said the outcomes yesterday. I said one outcome is she wins because this is going to be slightly rigged because she is pro-CBDC. And I said they don't want a leader to run the United States. They want a listener. And Kamala Harris is a listener that reads from scripts. Everybody can back that. Kamala Harris, her entire campaign is reading from scripts. So they need a listener to be in charge of the United States, not a leader. And Kamala Harris is a listener. And she will do anything these people will tell her. Trump, on the other hand, wants to become a leader, which is what you're supposed to do as a president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world. Because she wants to be a listener, that means she's going to listen to the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, the World Economic Forum, and so many other entities, which means they might rig it to put her in that place. But I also said if they rig it, and it's too obvious that they rigged it, then a massive, essentially, protest situation is going to be happening. It's going to be very violent protests as well, most likely, I'm guessing. But I said option number 2 is they let Trump become president of the United States and then collapse the economy on top of his head on purpose, and then say, well, Trump is the one that collapsed the entire economy when it was, in fact, a broken economy that was handed down on purpose to be collapsed on Trump's heads, where it makes Trump go from the hero to the villain very quickly. So that's what I said will happen. And I'm seeing a lot of videos from the United States of people posting that the voting machines are not working properly when they try to click on Trump's name. And they click on Trump's name, and then somehow the person below Trump, which is Kamala Harris, gets chosen as the option. There's a lot of situations happening inside the United States with these voting machines right now. And then you have ballots, then you have the voting ballots that are being set on fire as well. There's a lot of weird situations happening. But also, there's so much happening around this election date with the geopolitical tensions and with the 2 random founders of Bitcoin scenarios. A lot of things are happening right now, to be fairly honest. And the Bank of International Settlements making that weird comment just yesterday. Since the SEC is harassing XRP, why does Ripple not consider the idea to outsource? Outsource in what sense? Thompson, elaborate. Outsource in what sense? I've invested everything I had into crypto, and if Kamala wins, then I don't want to lose my investments. Frankly, brother, you're not going to be losing your investments if Kamala wins. Obviously, if Trump wins, is a much more better ideal situation. But if by some weird scenario Kamala Harris wins the U.S. elections, don't worry, she's not going to be taking away your investments for now. Who knows? Somewhere down the line. Is it possible? Because let's not forget, Kamala Harris's campaign is the same campaign or the same administration that was trying to silence people online. I've lost any faith in JP Morgan after them stifling silver. 900. Oh, sorry. Is it possible for? Sorry, there's a question sent on to yours I missed. Is it possible that the U.S. election results could lead to a civil war? It's possible. Okay. That the U.S. election results, if it doesn't go Trump's way, it's possible that there could be, as I said, some violent protesting scenarios, and which I'm not condoning in any sort of way, but it's possible that that scenario can happen inside the United States if Trump is not chosen as the preferred candidate, mainly because people are tired of governments telling them what they can do with their own children, to families, for example. And people are tired with the inflation, people are tired with the wars, people are tired with every shenanigan that comes out of governments right now. That essentially applies to all governments around the world. So it could be, yes, there could be a scenario of a civil war type of scenario happening, yes. I've lost any faith in JP Morgan after them stifling silver. 920 million fine wasn't enough. Definitely wasn't enough. Even if I was a CMF, Jason, good to see you. How you doing? I presume Iran, China, and Russia will be happy about a civil war if it happens in the US. Definitely, they will be. Well, here's the ironic part. Everybody remember when Texas So this was like 4 months back or 5 months back, when Texas was having a major border issue, which they're already having right now as well. I mean, Texas, every state in America is having a major issue with immigrants right now. And Texas was having a very big issue with immigrants. And then Texas was on the news for a while, about 4 or 5 months back, talking about how they might just, separate themselves from the United States. There was this news topic that was going around about 4 to 5 months back about how Texas wants to just become its own separate sovereignty and a separate country and so on. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's based on your question of that they will, Iran, China, and Russia will be happy with a civil war inside the United States, is because Russia said to Texas that they will back them. About 4 to 5 months ago, when Texas was on the news, that Texas is thinking about becoming its own sovereign, its own country once again, Russia said they will back Texas if it needs arms, for example. So on your question of, I presume Iran, China, and Russia will be happy with a civil war inside the United States. Yes. I mean, Russia already said they will back Texas no matter what. Hey, Miles, the CMF Comatose, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Right now, the US is slightly maybe vulnerable, but also manipulating everybody at the same time. It's a very interesting time play right now. Hey, Miles, but to be fair, every government does that. Hey, Miles, the CMF Comatose, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? And I know people that have been voting and having problems, like you've seen in the videos on X when you hit Trump's name. Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos on X right now and on TikTok and so on, with people trying to vote inside the United States, and they're clicking on Trump's name on the machines, but it won't click on Trump's name. But if you click on Kamala's name, it goes through. But if you click on Trump's name, it won't go through on the machines, which is extremely weird. And when they print out their tickets, it comes up with different candidates. What hope is there when it's so rigged? It's extremely rigged. That's the thing. And you're correct. Facts. Do you think what is happening with Puff Daddy can affect the Democratic campaign? Do I think what's happening with Diddy can affect the Democratic campaign? Yes, but people don't have brain cells. The majority of people really don't have any sort of brain cells. So if we're going to presume that the Democratic campaign is going to be affected by, essentially Diddy, already the celebrities that are backing Kamala Harris are all people guaranteed to be on the essentially Diddy list of parties. And everybody knows that Diddy had the most weirdest, essentially, Hollywood parties. And Hollywood parties are the most satanic, essentially, parties you can pretty much go to. Anytime you hear anything about a Hollywood party, it's extremely satanic. But and the reason why I said yes, it could essentially affect the Democratic campaign, but it depends on people having brain cells. Because I put out a tweet about 4 days ago where I said that people say politicians lie. People say that celebrities are satanic. People say that 99.9% of billionaires are corrupt and politicians are manipulative and so on. And people say all of these things, that politicians are corrupt and essentially celebrities are satanic and that billionaires are manipulative and so on. Yet, when all the billionaires, all the politicians, and all the celebrities that people call satanic, manipulative, and corruptive are backing Kamala Harris, people are tweeting out from Kamala Harris's campaign going, oh, Beyonce's backing Kamala Harris. Beyonce and Jay-Z are on the Diddy list. What happened to celebrities that are going to these weird parties of satanic worshippers? What happened to that scenario? Oh, people tweeting out essentially Taylor Swift is a part of essentially Kamala Harris, and people are getting excited because all these celebrities are backing Kamala Harris, or all these billionaires are backing Kamala Harris, and the Democratic Party is not the majority of them, but a lot of them are essentially getting excited about that matter. So what happened to that time period where people said celebrities are essentially, the majority of celebrities are satanic worshippers? What happened to that time period where people were saying billionaires are manipulative and corrupt people? What happened to that time period where people were saying politicians are corrupt people? But when all the politicians and all the celebrities and all the billionaires, the same people that are corrupt, manipulative, satanic worshippers, are backing Kamala Harris, it doesn't matter anymore. So It's just weird. So that's why I said it should essentially, damage the Democratic campaign, but people don't have brain cells. And that's why I also said inside the Telegram group that I'm waiting for the day, genuinely, I'm not even joking about this one. I'm waiting for the day that science reaches a certain level where they're able to create extra brain cells that you can donate to other people. Because a lot of people need brain cells. So I'm genuinely waiting for the day that we reach a certain level in science where you can donate extra brain cells to people. Do you think Yo, Miles, Nox, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? We should Monel Russia if they interfere in the US business. Be a bad idea to essentially go from the Russian disinformation. That is true. Russia does spread disinformation as well. Miles, is BTC going to drop below 68 support levels if Kamala Harris wins? Yes. The entire market is, from Wall Street's perspective, institutional perspective, banking perspective, worldwide perspective. They've all priced in essentially Trump winning essentially the elections, and they've all priced in Trump winning the elections. Market's going to go higher and higher and higher. If the opposite happens, then obviously we're going to get a drop coming in. So yes, we're going to essentially maybe drop below the 68,000. Depends. Let's see what happens. But it depends on the candidate in the next few days before the elections. If that happens in the next few days before the elections, so it's the second part of your question, then that could be due to geopolitical tensions. If Israel and Iran go into a full war, then obviously we're going to see drastic drops inside the market space. I can't believe, depends how severe the war is. If it's just going to be missile retaliations again, then it won't be some sort of a drastic war, a drastic drop. I can't believe they would have J-Lo in front of a center and crazy at this stage of this campaign. She's in up to her neck. 100% facts, what Shelly has said, absolutely. If there's a certain video that can get released, it will. She's done. Yep. Shiba and Luna C are holding their levels. In addition, spent a couple of $100 to add more to them to my portfolio. Let's go, Thompson. J-Lo and Beyonce are all in up on their necks. I agree 100%. When the time is right, I will definitely use some of those profits to buy XLM, XDC, XRP, and other utility and AI coins. Let's go, Thompson. Good move. Let's go. I can and will accept whoever wins the election. This is why I wore the uniform for years. I do not like the lies being shared online by many of the people. I agree. But here's the thing. You've got to consider, just in case it is rigged. Scott, what I would say is, I completely understand, Scott, that you can and will accept whoever wins, but you got to understand that you can't take everything in this world face value. So what I'm trying to say is, Scott, just because you are a incredibly honest person doesn't mean the world is also, is what I'm trying to say. So Scott, I completely understand you saying I can and will accept whoever wins the election. Fully understand that, but you've got to also understand from a different perspective that just because you are a very honest person, it doesn't mean the world is also. I mean, we're talking about politicians here. We're talking about governments. We're talking about entities. We're talking about the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, the World Economic Forum, the plan of CBDCs, the plan of control, and so on. So you've got to consider all those factors. So don't take everything in life face value. Just because you are a great and honest person doesn't mean the world is either. So don't take everything face value. I forgot, but what will happen to XRP on November 4th? On November 4th? Nothing. November 5th is the elections. Good evening, Miles of CMF. Mav, good to see you. How you doing? I'll request to have some of your brain cells, Miles. My brain is not braining today. I believe that Elon Musk will essentially make your wish be true thanks to X platform. He can release some news of these celebrities and some corrupt politicians as well. His life may be in danger for those data. Yep. Elon Musk is doing, amazing, essentially, on revealing corruptness inside the government and celebrities and so on. And if Trump is chosen as the next president of the United States, hopefully, a lot more corruption should be revealed, because Elon Musk will definitely make sure that all of that corruption is going to be revealed. That's another thing a lot of politicians are fearing right now. A lot of politicians are fearing the idea of Trump, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, Vivek, and so many other people, that Trump has created a massive team behind himself that are not politicians like they are, essentially, that they might reveal their dirty tricks. I wish party affiliates would go away. The ideas the candidates have are often tainted because of their parties and affiliations. I agree 100%. Some of them, both parties, have good ideas. That's true as well. How can we get the videos across to all the Americans? Videos of what? Miles on X, most likely. Miles, the reason I do not think it will be rigged in Scam's favor is because she does not want this job. She's up for travel. She's not up for responsibility. She's self-sabotaging with her stupid words. What I would say is, Kamala, what I would say is, happy Pisces, that Kamala, obviously she's not up for the job. Everybody see that. But no, it's not about her wanting this job. It's about Obama. You got to realize that Obama's presidency didn't end with Obama. Just to put in perspective, Obama's presidency didn't end with Obama. It continued on, essentially, with Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe. And it's going to continue on if Kamala Harris wins with Kamala Harris. This wasn't Joe Biden's presidency. And if Kamala wins, it's not going to be Kamala's presidency. It's Obama's presidency. He's the one pulling the strings alongside some other people. So his presidency never ended. It continued in different forms. And there's also a video footage, not even joking. There's actual video footage of Obama doing an interview, stating, essentially, when he was asked the question, Obama was asked the question of, would you run for another term? And Obama said, no, I wouldn't run for another term. He said, but instead, I would love to be in a basement somewhere with, essentially headphones and telling another president what to do with headphones in their ears. Sound familiar? Have you seen those videos of Kamala Harris suddenly like turning away and putting her hand next to her ear? Her essentially, someone's telling her what to do. But Obama did say that he would love the idea of being somewhere essentially unknown and speaking into someone's ear, running the country. He would rather do that. As a video footage of him in an interview saying those words. Obama's presidency never ended. It continued with Joe Biden. If Kamala wins, it will continue with Kamala as well, Obama's presidency. It never ended. Huh? So it's just... Miles, thanks for the kind words. No problem, Scott. Anytime, brother. Russia, let's go. How you doing? I just want my XRP, XLM, XDC, ACH, HBAR to take off and soar. Let's go. Fire the weasel Gary Gensler, January 15. All the SEC cases need to disappear. I agree 1,000,000% facts. Absolutely facts. Trump will finish cleaning the swamp, and they know it. They are scared. Wicked Pelosi stated on TV, we will not let Trump win. There's a lot of corruptness that's going to be revealed. Don't you want, essentially the corruption to end in essentially in any sort of governments? Do you not want the corruption to end? Trump is the man that's going to reveal all that corruption. He's going to come out and reveal the political corruption that's been happening, probably up to a certain extent. Obviously, he doesn't want to, damage the US's reputation, but he'll reveal some people, majorly people. Do you think our beloved asset reaches 10,000, say 2027 or 2028? It's possible. but consider variable change, but possible. 100% Obama is pulling the puppet strings, but she's exhausted. Still, yeah, I agree, she is, but yeah, Obama is in control. Yes, facts. Let's go, Shelly. I benefit from many of Trump's policies. I can't complain financially. I can't accept the theoretical he spews. I am a minority, and it does not set well with me. Hashtag USA. Let's go, Scott. Don't forget Kennedy, who is Trump's side as well. Yes, facts. Kennedy is a great candidate as well. This man can't wait to reopen a serious case against the deep state, which is true as well. Kennedy will most likely open up a massive, essentially, filing on that matter. I watched Sleepy Joe live today speaking to unions. Oh my goodness, he said he inherited a 9% inflation rate and brought it down to 2% and created 16 million jobs. You know, with Joe Biden, with Sleepy Joe going on essentially, you know, live and stage and stating, you know, Joe Biden stating he brought down, you know, a 9% inflation to 2% and created 16 million jobs. He probably did in his own deluded mind. In reality, not so much. Miles, Bank of International Settlements were right when they said if the US sneezes, the world catches a cold. I see how this Bank of International Settlements elections are affecting us all across the world. I told you the US plays the biggest role inside the world. It still does, and it will essentially always will. And yeah, they don't lie. The Bank of International Settlements, when they said if the US markets sneeze, the world market catches a cold. The video should be exposed if it exists. I've saved it. I can actually post it inside a Telegram group if you want, no problem. 100%. You are exactly speaking facts. That is exactly what I heard Obama say a couple of years ago. He would like to speak in earphones to a president. For the record, the Democratic Party needs a different candidate. I agree. I agree 100%. I remember Obama saying he would buy people's dishwashers cash for clunkers. I watched the DNC convention years ago, and he lied to the black people. Yeah. The assets. Now, moving on to Coinbase. So something interesting has came out of Coinbase, which is actually relatable to what we've been discussing right now inside the Q&As, inside all those questions about Sleepy Joe, Kamala Harris, Trump. What I'm about to read next to you actually has relevance to what we've just been discussing right now. So I reviewed Coinbase's reports, their quarterly reports that came out. And we have a little bit more information on that. And one piece of information is actually quite interesting. So Coinbase has published their Q3 reports that came out for 2024. The total trading volumes for quarter was $18.5 billion. This represents an 18% decrease compared to the Q2. It is worth noting that institutional tradings contributed to this volume in a big way. It stood at $15.1 billion, equivalent to 81.6% in total. Retail trading, on the other hand, recorded a $3.4 billion and contributed 18.4% of total volume. So with the reports coming out from Coinbase, the numbers should have been higher, though was slightly lower. Now, Bitcoin trading essentially involving, it was up the terms of the shares. It increased 37% in total of trading volumes. It went to as high as 37% of the total trading volumes. Second on the list was Ethereum with the share of 15%. Tether also rose back to 15% trading volumes and hit 11% thanks to Solana. They concluded that essentially the reduced trading volume is a sign of a difficult climate for crypto exchanges. The increased interest from institutional traders is evident from the increased resilience on institutional trading. And this trend may persist with the increase in adoption of cryptocurrencies in institutions. However, the company still holds the significant position inside the crypto market. Even with the reduced trading volumes, the company is improving its environments. Its concentration on institutional investors might help to insulate it from the volatility of the retail sector. The report presents a change in the trading volumes as well in the environments. And it's interesting as well with Coinbase mentioning something that I mentioned a while ago, that retail investors are very scattered. where institutional investors are very coordinated, and institutional money is always better for any asset than retail money. Obviously, retailers can make a profit from the institutional investors as well, but the report presents a change in the trading environments. Institutional traders are becoming the new norm in the market space. This may result in stability of trading volumes, something that I've always said and stood by, that institutional money is more coordinated. When institutional money enters an asset, it stays with that asset minimum 5 years, because institutions look for 5-year projections, whereas most retailers look for a 1-week projection before jumping out of a crypto asset or any asset in that matter. This is why I've always said you're not going to be seeing $25,000 Bitcoins or $5,000 Bitcoins ever again, because of institutional money that's inside Bitcoin. It's going to stay there for a minimum 5-year time period. And this may result in a stability of trading volumes, which will essentially be recurrent in the trading business. But it also implies that the retail trader has limited power to influence markets, which is also true. Retail traders obviously have zero influence on the market space unless they all coordinately come together for fruit to one asset. Therefore, as Coinbase advances, it will most likely refine its services for institutional clients. So Coinbase is going to focus going forward on more on institutional clients than retail clients, because that is what's happening. The next clientele coming inside the crypto space is all going to be institutional money. And it's already started with institutional money as well, with the ETFs and the banks and so on. But the next clientele is pretty much institutional. It's going to continue that way moving forward. Altogether, it is possible to note that the performance has declined in Q3, yet these results can be meaningful. The fact that institutional trading is at a strong suit for Coinbase, it's a good thing. The company is well placed to be able to effectively compete for and respond to the changes in the market space. Lastly, investors and analysts were also observing it closely. Later reports will discuss how Coinbase deals with these challenges. The company's strategy will become the key to success in the following quarters. And they went on to say that the presidential elections coming up. So Coinbase's reports essentially talked about the presidential elections as well. And they talked about how if that there's a chance that Kamala could win the presidential elections. A lot of institutions are now saying this. Not a lot of institutions, a lot of blockchain companies are now saying that there's a chance that Kamala Harris can win. I think there was essentially a reason why that happened. Why essentially. Okay, so here's a part 2 to that. So here's a part 2. Metamask, for example. Metamask essentially consensus. SEC claims unsupported law. So the SEC is suing multiple essentially blockchain firms, no doubt about it. Now, Ethereum infrastructure developer Consensus has filed its response to the SEC claims of federal securities law violations, adding to its lawsuits against the agency. This is like a part 2. The SEC previously accused Consensus crypto wallet Metamask of operating as an unregistered broker and securities issuer. Consensus fully essentially refuted the SEC's allegations, criticizing the agency as its chair, Gary Gensler, for what it described as an unconstitutional attack on the decentralized financial ecosystems. Its court submitted replies reaffirmed its stance and dissatisfactions with the SEC's lawsuits. This action is just a latest step in the SEC's recent campaign to seize control over the future of blockchains and cryptocurrencies, one of the fastest growing and most innovative technologies in the world. The SEC's attempt to impose its regulatory authorities on this technology and insert itself in the crypto architecture is unsupported in the law. Its claims must fail. Consensus responses to the SEC's suit before becoming the subject of the SEC's probe. Lubin firms had sued the SEC over its Ethereum investigation as well. The agency prosecutors closed the inquiry and promptly filed a complaint against Metamask creators. The SEC alleges that Metamask listed illegal securities tradings and its staking services violated financial regulations as well. And Consensus countersued the regulator to determine whether the laws grants the SEC's regulatory oversights. And Bill, a lawyer of essentially Consensus, revealed that the U.S. Judge O'Connor granted an expedited calendar for the case to move forward. Meanwhile, the CEO, Joseph Lubin, announced staff layoffs attributed to regulatory battles and macroeconomic factors, and consensus reducing its workforce by 20%. Also, I just want to point out before I get to my previous point, a new point. These crypto companies that are going up against the SEC, they're actually getting to a stage where they can't afford it to go up against the SEC. They're actually laying off their employees. So Consensus, which is essentially the Metamask wallet, they're getting rid of 20% of their employees. And other essentially crypto firms that are going up against the SEC, they're also getting rid of 20%, 30% of their employees because they can't afford to pay their wages anymore going into courts with the SEC. Several firms under pressure from the SEC's litigations may see an approaching US general elections as a potential advantage. Digital asset companies have donated over $190 million to crypto-focused super PACs like Fairshare, and essentially outspending all other industries. Here we go. This is the same thing that essentially Coinbase has said, and Ripple has said, and a few other blockchain companies have said. Republican candidate Donald Trump has stated he will dismiss Gary Gensler in January 2025 if elected. It goes on to say, the SEC's legal actions may temporarily stall in the event of Commissioner cellmates, and Gary Gensler could continue in office until 2026 if Democratic Kamala Harris wins. So, Consensus, Metamask, going up against the SEC, talking about their case, and then ending it with a conclusion of Trump wins, Gary's out. But let's all, for a sudden, essentially for a moment, think about it. If Kamala wins, Gary's going to continue maybe forward, being the chairman of the SEC. So I'm guessing that they are obviously playing, politics plays a massive role. That's Ripple is doing bigger donations to Kamala Harris's campaign, and that these blockchain companies, there's a lot of blockchain companies now that are all claiming they're neutral parties. All these blockchain companies that were out there, they were all pro-Trump in a certain way. They were pro-Republicans. But now they're all neutral parties. Coinbase is a neutral party. Ripple's a neutral party. Consensus is a neutral party. And the list just goes on. Crypto.com is a neutral party. Kraken is a neutral party. But it's so obvious that Trump is a crypto candidate. Trump is pro-crypto. Republicans are pro-crypto. So why are crypto companies all of a sudden, 4 or 5 days before the election date, singing a different tune? Why are they all saying we're neutral parties when it's incredibly obvious who is the pro-crypto candidate and who isn't? So why are all these companies all of a sudden saying we're neutral parties, even though Trump is clearly a crypto person? Is it because that all these crypto companies at the same time, because 4 or 5 days before the elections, at the same time, they're all singing a different tune? Is it because all these crypto companies have come to the conclusion that this election might go the other way, that this election might get rigged and go the other way, and that now they're all saying they're neutral parties? Whereas it's clear that Trump is pro-crypto and Kamala isn't, because she hasn't spoken at all. So is it because all these because the crypto companies were all pro-Republicans? There was a time period where all these crypto companies were pro-Republicans and pro-Trump, and now they're all coming out 4 or 5 days before saying we're neutral parties. Is it because they have a fear going on that it might just swing the other way, and that they might start saying well, they're neutral parties right now before it ends bad for them moving forward? And I could also explain why, essentially Ripple made essentially donations to both parties. As I said, Ripple made donations to the Donald Trump to the Republican campaigns, and Chris Lawson David Schwartz made donations to Trump's campaign, and Chris Lawson made donations to Kamala Harris's campaign. But they made a very big donation, about $11 to $12 million donation to the Kamala Harris campaign. Is Ripple trying to buy out Kamala? Because they think it might just swing the other way, so we might as well start paying off Kamala. I think something's happening. There's some rigging, corruption, manipulation situation going on, because all of these crypto companies, all of them, now stating they're neutral parties is slightly odd, because there's clearly one candidate that is pro-crypto. The man went on stage and said he will fire Gary Gensler. Donald Trump went on stage in a live audience at a blockchain event and said he will fire Gary Gensler. That would solve 99% of the United States problems when it comes to crypto. Gary Gensler is the one that's damaging essentially Coinbase and stifling them. Gary Gensler is the same man that's stifling Ripple, the same man that's stifling Kraken, the same man that's stifling Crypto.com, the same man that's stifling Consensus. So why is all these crypto blockchain companies all of a sudden now saying they're neutral parties? Why are they not backing the man that said that will get rid of their problems? Trump said he will get rid of all their problems. And the crypto companies are saying we're neutral parties. But they were all saying they were pro, essentially. They were all saying they were pro-Republicans. A while ago, all these crypto companies were saying they're pro-Republicans. They're pro-essentially Trump's side. But now, 4 or 5 days before the elections, they're all saying we're neutral parties. And it's clear who's going to get rid of 99 of their problems. 99% of their problems will go away with Trump, which is Gary Gensler. But they're not backing him. They're saying 4 or 5 days before, we're neutral parties. Whereas 2 or 3 months before, they were singing a different tune. And it could be the reason why Chris Lawson made a very, very big, hefty donation to Kamala Harris. Just in case, if it does go, Kamala Harris, next president of the United States, because it's extremely rigged, that she will play ball with Ripple. Keep that in mind. All these companies are singing a different tune right now. And with Consensus saying the same thing, they're neutral parties, and they're saying in their own statements, Consensus, in their own statements, they're stating, Donald Trump stated that he will dismiss Gary Gensler. Consensus is going up against Gary Gensler, and Consensus in their own statement has stated Gary Gensler will be gone with Donald Trump, and that if Kamala is chosen, in their own statements, if Kamala is chosen, Gary Gensler might stay in office until 2026. But they're still saying they're a neutral party. Consensus is still saying we are a neutral party now. Even though they've stated themselves, Trump comes into power, Gary's gone. And they're versing Gary right now. But they're saying we're a neutral party. In their own statements, they said it. They said if Kamala is chosen, Gary might still have a job. And they're all singing a different tune now, 4 or 5 days before. But 2 or 3 months ago, it was a completely different song they were singing. There's a very, very rigged situation going on. I said there's 2 outcomes. It's either they rig it and Kamala wins, or they let Trump win and collapse the economy on top of his head. It's the only 2 possible ways it can go. They will either rig it so Kamala Harris wins, or Trump will win, so protest and violent protesting doesn't happen, and they will collapse the economy on top of Trump's head on purpose. What they're going to do is not let Trump be able to breathe. Because let's just think about it for a second as well. Trump said, you got to think about this equation. Okay, here's the equation. Trump said he's going to come into power and reveal all of their dirty tricks. So Trump's going to reveal the politicians' dirty tricks. Trump's going to reveal the celebrity list. Trump's going to reveal the Epstein list, what Elon Musk was talking about. Trump's going to reveal the Epstein list, the Diddy list, the politicians' dirty tricks. Do you think these politicians and these celebrities and everybody else, all these dirty government entities, are going to let somebody walk into that White House and reveal all of their dirty tricks to the world? So keep it in mind, you know, the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, the World Economic Forum wants to go CBDCs and Trump doesn't. And on the other side, you have the politicians, the dirty government entities, and the dirty celebrities who are on Epstein's list and flight list and so on, and Diddy's parties that are all going to get revealed. So Trump is facing two massive groups of people. The question is, do you think they're going to let this man walk into office and reveal the dirty tricks from the World Economic Forum side, Bank of International Settlements side, and International Monetary side, and reveal the dirty plays from the celebrities and politicians and the banks? That's what you have to consider. Are they going to let this man walk into office and reveal both sides of these dirty plays? Or are they just going to collapse the economy on top of his head? He becomes president, they collapse the economy on top of his head, and don't let him breathe. Don't give him a chance to reveal that information. There's so many things to consider. It's not as easy as who's, you know, the next candidate and, you know, happy days and everybody walks away into the sunshine. There's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of things to consider. Are these two groups just going to let somebody walk in and reveal all their dirty plays? If they do let him in, they will have to essentially collapse the economy. There's no other option. They have to collapse the economy on top of his head. And that probably is the reason why blockchain companies, all these blockchain companies, are giving out signals. It seems like it. It genuinely seems like these blockchain companies are giving out signals right now. All of them are neutral parties. Even though one man, all they have to do is say, we endorse Trump. Coinbase has millions and millions and millions of users that some of them might decide to vote Democrat. Some of them might decide to vote for Kamala Harris. Essentially, might decide to vote for Kamala Harris. Coinbase has millions upon millions upon millions of users. Crypto.com has millions and millions and millions and millions of users. Same scenario goes for essentially Ripple. Same scenario goes for essentially Consensus. Same scenario goes for Kraken. All these blockchain companies have altogether billions of users worldwide. So they can tell their users, we endorse Trump and you should back us as well if you want pro-crypto. Because some of their voters might decide to vote for Kamala. But they won't endorse the man. They won't endorse Trump. Do you understand how odd that is? Yes, they're playing a political game. Guaranteed. They're playing a political game. But why was some of them singing a different tune 2-3 months ago? Why was some of them 2-3 months ago saying Republicans are better choice than Democrats? And now, 4-3 days before the elections, they're neutral parties. Something's happening. There's a rig happening. There's either a rig happening or they're going to collapse the economy on top of his head. Republicans will not allow such a thing to happen. Could be fixes in, and they know it. It's rigged. Regarding the blockchain companies, they made bigger donations. They have to cover their backs because of it goes the other way. Then they're covered. Facts. It is true. Yes, they made a bigger donation, Democrats, because they are not pro-crypto, so they're trying to buy the politicians, which is a point that I stated a few nights ago, which is also factual. We've also got to consider other outcomes as well. It's a very complicated situation right now. Very complicated situation. Could be fixes in, and they know it is rigged. Hence why the crypto companies are now singing a different tune. Look, here's the thing. If Coinbase, Ripple, Kraken, Crypto.com, Consensus, all of these blockchain companies, since day one, were saying we are neutral parties, I understand. Okay, no problem. You're playing the political role. But why was some of them saying Republicans, Republicans, Republicans. And now 4 or 5 days before the elections, those same companies are saying they're neutral parties. They're playing the political role, but the switchover is crazy. The switchover is most likely because they know it's going to be rigged. Time will tell. Time will tell. No Ripple, too powerful. People are comfortable with neutral stance on politics, reverse psychology. If Ripple said the pro-Trump, regardless of the great project and token, people would go against them. Possible, but if you're in crypto, you have to be pro-crypto. If you are in crypto, you have to be pro-crypto because it makes no sense. Genuinely makes no sense. It's like somebody being pro for electric vehicles and he only drives diesels. It makes no sense. If you're in crypto, you choose the person who's going to benefit you in crypto. Full stop. Honestly, it's like somebody being pro for electric vehicles and they only drive diesel cars. Then how can you be pro for electric vehicles if you only buy diesel cars? How can you be pro for crypto if you're choosing people that are going to go against crypto? It's just basic common sense. And yes, there is still that political aspect because politics plays into everything. But you also understand where I'm coming from. Most people aren't as intelligent and introspective as you, Miles. Remember that most people are simplest. Simpletons. Sorry to say, but it's true. They are. I don't think they are afraid. I think they are sat together in that perceived meeting, and they all know what is about to happen. And Ripple also had a sit down with Kamala Harris. A lot of people don't know that either. Ripple had a sit down with Kamala Harris. With Kamala Harris's campaign, Ripple had a sit down with them. And then Ripple made a donation to Kamala Harris's campaign. And a time period could be after the sit down or before the sit down, but they had a sit down. I don't think they are afraid. I think they all sat together in a previous meeting and they all know what is about to happen. Yep. Even Miles of CMF, sorry I'm late. Catch up watching the live replay later. Joe, let's go. How you doing? How you been? If Kamala gets in, it's definitely rigged. The fall guy being Trump, essentially. Either way, fall guy will be great for us again. True. Disclosure. There are many Americans who will go to Mexico or South America. That should be interesting. A reversal happening. Moreover, with American inflation and the bad governance of the Democrats, Americans will essentially expect to have a chance to save their savings. Hi Miles, why always dump in prices? Let us get to see what you do. All I'm considering is my beautiful dream I had last night. XRP at $1.22. Let's go. Maybe an emergency could happen where they suspend the elections. It has to be here's the thing. Elections can't be suspended. The election date can be pushed, but it can't be suspended. JP mine ended way better than yours, all the way to the moon. That beats $1.22. I'll stick with my version instead. Let's go, Shelly. I am for crypto for the long term. Let's go, Thompson. Consistently purchasing essentially some every week. Yep. Miles, what time? Perfect. Thompson, absolutely amazing. What time frames you think for XRP to get to $2? This case needs to be completely done and dusted. That's the first green light was still trapped upon. To be fairly honest, XRP is dead and that's it. Is what Valentino said. Well, Valentino has spoken, everybody. Somebody by the name of Valentino inside the comment sections has mentioned XRP is dead and it's over, and that's it. Well, you heard it here first from Valentino from the comment section stating XRP is dead and that's it. Valentino, honestly, and by the way, that's British sarcasm if you're wondering. Valentino, genuinely, do you think your comment has any sort of impact in reality? Even a single % of an impact? Valentino, do you think the Bank of International Settlements is going to watch this live right now and go, well, Valentino has spoken for the Bank of International Settlements? Or essentially, do you think the International Monetary Fund is going to watch this live right now? The International Monetary Fund is going to go, well, Valentino has spoken for everybody, XRP is over, and so is the International Monetary Fund. What do you think you achieve, Valentino, or people like Valentino, when you put a comment as stupid and moronic as that? When you mention XRP is dead and that's it, as if I'm going to go, oh no, it's dead. What shall I do? Come on. It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself in front of everyone. We must tell the church elders. I mean, what do you expect me to do when you put a stupid comment like that? I keep saying that, Valentino, get a life. I keep seeing that the SEC are still going after the security status of XRP. This is not true, is it? No, it's not true. Donations equals bribes. Yeah. Valentino, you don't understand small brain. Everybody go home. It's all over. The state of Florida holds 800 million in cryptos. Is that true? Yes. The state of Florida does hold $800 million in crypto. That is true, yep. I hope Donald Trump's win. You hope Donald Trump wins. Morons like morons, Miles, morons. Yeah, facts. Shelley, absolutely morons. Now, what we're going to talk about next is US Treasury. US Treasury blockchain can improve financial systems. Blockchain technology promises to. So, you know what's interesting? The US Treasury has come out and said, crypto, they're in favor of. Blockchain, green light. Crypto, tokenization, everything green light. SEC, negative. Gary Gensler, negative. US Treasury, blockchain can improve financial system, is what they said. Blockchain technology promises to create a new financial market infrastructure with enhanced operational and economic efficiencies, according to the United States Department of Treasury on their Q4 2024 report. This is the US Treasury talking about how blockchain can advance the United States. And then you have the SEC, who is just causing havoc on everything. To unlock these benefits, the legal and regulatory landscape will need to evolve alongside advances in tokenizations of legacy assets, according to the report. The US Treasury Borrowing Advisory Committee weighed the benefits of stablecoin adoption and Treasury bill tokenization. They said tokenization can potentially improve liquidity in the tradings of treasuries by reducing operational and settlement frictions, said the Treasury in their reports. The committee said distributed ledger technology, and smart contracts can be very beneficial as well. They said ledgers could allow for greater transparencies in Treasury market operations, reducing optimism and providing regulators, issuers, and investors with more real-time insights and trading activities, according to reports also. Meanwhile, smart contracts programmed directly into the tokenized treasuries can allow for efficient collaterals as well. Managements, including pre-programmed collateral transfers, the Treasury said. The committee noted that stablecoins seem to be increasing demand for short-term United States government bonds, known as Treasury bills, T-bills, according to the meeting. And they also wanted to say, to date, growth in digital assets has created marginal demand for short-dated treasuries. The Treasury said this has so far come primarily through increased use and prevalence of stablecoins. According to the minutes, one committee member suggested the US creates a permission blockchain for tokenized, essentially short-dated T-bills. The way forward should involve a cautious approach spearheaded by trusted central authority with widespread buy-in from private sector participants, according to the report. Stablecoins tokens pegged to the US dollar or fiat currencies are emerging as the core infrastructure for trading and payments. Total stablecoin market capitalization hit record highs in 2024 and now approaches $180 million according to CoinMarketCap. And Tether's USDT dominates among stablecoins with a market capitalization of $120 billion. Circle's USDC is destined second with a market capitalization of approximately $35 billion. Meanwhile, tokenized real-world assets from Treasury securities and artworks represents a $30 trillion market opportunity. Globally, Colin Butler, Polygon's global head of institutional capital, told Cointelegraph. So, US Treasury releases a report on their Q4 reports and says they're all up for blockchain. The US Treasury thinks blockchain is a great idea. Tokenization, great idea. Essentially, stablecoins, great idea. I think personally, the US Treasury and the SEC should have a sit down because they're not on the same page. Gary Gensler's views are cryptocurrencies need to be sued. Senator Elizabeth Warren's views on cryptocurrencies is it's only being used by criminals. Whereas the US Treasury has a perspective on the matter of it could benefit the United States largely. I think these three people should have a sit down with each other and maybe get on the same page. Now, moving away from a report from the US Treasury, which is extremely so different from the SEC's point of view, to UBS, which is a question I was asked earlier on this live regarding Ethereum and UBS, which I said yes, in terms of tokenization, it is happening on Ethereum. They're launching their first ever tokenized fund on Ethereum. And it's mostly to do with BlackRock releasing their tokenized fund on Ethereum and a few other ones happening as well. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. And it also goes back to what I said. Corporates do tend to follow each other's footpaths. If one corporate, essentially, if one major institution does something and they essentially that corporation benefits from it, the other corporates around them will just follow them straight after. And you will see this example a lot more often now that you're inside the crypto space. So if you weren't inside the corporate space before, but now you're inside the crypto space, you're going to see that example quite more often. Essentially Metamask, for example, being the first company in the world to buy Bitcoin and put it on the balance sheets. And then you have a company in Japan following the blueprints of Metaco because it was so successful, or 3 companies based out of Canada that are following footsteps of essentially MicroStrategy because it was so successful. Or BlackRock essentially launching a Bitcoin ETF, or thinking about launching a Bitcoin ETF, and everybody else in Wall Street wants to follow their footsteps. Or they launch essentially a Bitcoin, they launch a tokenized fund on Ethereum, which makes other corporates decide to launch a tokenized fund on Ethereum, which is what's going on with UBS Bank. Or when JP Morgan decides to use AVAX on a subnet green, which makes Citigroup decide to use AVAX on a subnet green because it was successful JP Morgan. That's just what happens inside the corporate sector. They do tend to follow each other's footsteps after seeing results happening. But before we go for the next news, let's go inside the comment section first. Once again, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, go for inside the comment section. I'll read everybody's comments one by one. Let's see what's going on inside the comment section before we go to the UBS tokenized on Ethereum. Good night, Miles and crypto family. Be aware they were fools trying to get under your skin. Oh, I'm fully aware they were fools trying to get under my skin. I just wanted to get under his skin. Miles, can we say our prayers as XRP is dead? If Ripple's bribed, Kamala won't mean CBDC very soon. Yeah. Miles, when thing case over, it takes long term? No, January. January, the Ripple case should be pretty much done and dusted. We should have some sort of results in January times, completely finished. No more of this idiotic behavior from Gary Gensler. What kind of idiots come to a live show? Oops, it's time to set up a GoFundMe page for XRP. Miles, is it true the Bank of International Settlements has scrapped Project Enbridge? Nope, it's incorrect and misinformation. The Bank of International Settlements has not scrapped Enbridge. They have not specifically stated those words. They stated something else, which everybody's taken out of context. They have not scrapped Enbridge. The Bank of International Settlements was asked, do you work with sanctioned countries? And that Enbridge is technically a sanctioned platform, which the Bank of International Settlements responded with, Enbridge is not a sanctioned platform, nor do we work with sanctioned countries, which everybody took out of context and started tweeting misinformation and stating that Bank of International Settlements is moving away from Enbridge. That's not what they said. They said they don't work with sanctioned countries, and Enbridge is not a sanctioned platform. They didn't say we're leaving Enbridge behind. So no, that's misinformation. Even better than 3 people should be fired. They are waiting for the rest of the world to get aboard and at the same time hoping to frustrate crypto citizens to sell their cryptos possessions, and then they will open up. I agree, 100%. Now, UBS. UBS launches the first tokenized investment fund on Ethereum. UBS Asset Management has introduced its first tokenized investments fund on Ethereum, named UBS, essentially USD Money Market Investment Fund Token, or UMINT. The fund is built on Ethereum for various authorized distributed partners across Singapore, per UBS reports. Tokenization is a process that converts traditional assets like stocks or bonds into digital tokens that can be managed on blockchains, the decentralized technology underlying crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum. These digital tokens represent a share of assets, enabling investors to buy, sell, or hold their positions of traditional financial products more effectively. UBS aims to capitalize on the rising demands for tokenization by leveraging its global resources and regulatory collaborations. Investors who purchase tokens on UMINT funds will gain access to institutional-level money market assets within conservative risk management frameworks. Major financial institutions are increasingly exploring tokenizations. So once again, the reason why UBS has chosen Ethereum for their money fund market tokenization project, BlackRock. And the reason why essentially Franklin Templeton chose to do Ethereum as well is because of BlackRock on their tokenized fund. Institutions follow each other. They follow each other's footsteps once they see results happening. Now, moving away from that news to ETH. Now, we've heard from many reports from JP Morgan that I've shared on this live. I've shared JP Morgan reports, Goldman Sachs reports, Standard Chartered Bank reports, Deutsche Bank reports, Franklin Templeton reports. I mean, so many multitude of reports I've been keep on revealing day by day. But in every report, it stated something similar, except one report which was very comprehensive. But on every report, it was stated the same words. Bitcoin goes to 125,000 if Trump wins, which pretty much was not overnight. Just want to point that out as well, just in case anybody missed those news articles, which when I shared those reports when I was sharing them. Not overnight, over time, but it's a small time period. And that we will see $73,000 by election date, because Wall Street has priced in Trump winning, which is on what was stated on all reports from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Franklin Templeton, and Deutsche Bank, Singaporean analyst firms, Hong Kong analyst firms, Saudi Arabia analyst firms, Blackstone, and so on. The list just goes on, and Citigroup and so on. But they've all stated what Bitcoin is going to do, and then they said altcoins will follow through. Well, now we have a report on what ETH could do, because all the other reports stated what Bitcoin's price point should be with the elections coming up. We have a report from Standard Chartered Bank, the same bank that keeps on doing reports on Bitcoin's price point during this election period. They've released a report on what Ethereum could possibly reach. ETH could hit $10,000 by next year, by next year's end, to be fairly honest, if Trump wins the US elections. In a bullish outlook for cryptocurrency markets, Standard Chartered has released a note predicting that Ethereum could surge to a high as $10,000 by the end of next year. According to Jeffrey Kendrick, the bank's global head of digital assets and research. So Standard Chartered Bank's global head of research has done a report and stated basically if Trump wins the elections, Ethereum could be seeing price points of $10,000, reaching $10,000 eventually by the end of next year, which means they have to start raising in value starting now, slowly to reach that price point. So I mean, overnight, end of the year is 10,000 instantly. So the attributes this potential 300% rises in Ethereum's price to Donald Trump victory in the upcoming US presidential elections. Jeffrey's analysis highlights several key drivers that could propel ETH to new heights, including increased interest in Ethereum futures and a surge in institutional investments. The surge that's going to be happening in 2025 for institutional investments is going to be through the roof. 2024, we've had institutional investments. We've had institutions tiptoeing into essentially the crypto space. And we've seen change, a lot of change. I mean, for crying out loud, Bitcoin's doing all-time new highs, keeps on trying to do all-time new highs. And the crypto markets haven't had some sort of drastic drops. And as I said previously, we're not in a bear market. We were never in a bear market. We were just in a very manipulated and corrupted market space with all the politicians and the regulations and the geopolitical tensions. That was all evident. I've been saying this since the beginning of the year. But what they're essentially stating is that it could reach those prices. So Standard Chartered Bank's recent analysis suggests a significant upward trajectory for Ether. An unfavorable, essentially a favorable political outcome for the US elections. The bank's forecast is built on a premise that Trump's victory would create an environment for cryptocurrencies growth, particularly for Ethereum. This optimistic projection underscores the interplay between political dynamics and cryptocurrency market performance. Institutional investors play a pivotal role in the cryptocurrency market space, which they do. Retail money is nothing compared to institutional money. And we're going to have the increase of institutions is probably going to be 10 times more than we've had in 2024, in 2025. 2025, we're going to have a lot more regulations. We're going to have CBDC releases. If we're going to have CBDC releases, that means we're going to have a lot of regulations in place between a lot of jurisdictions for that to happen, for domestic or international payments to be happening. And institutions will be playing a massive role in 2025, a massive role. And if you're positioned correctly inside the market space, I just want to point out something because I just remembered something as well. That I'm not going to reveal who this person was, but there was a video. So we have a Telegram group. We have a Telegram group for this live. And in the Telegram group of this live, one of the members of the CMF posted, by the way, the Telegram group is free if anybody wants to join it. So one of the members of the CMF posted a video inside a Telegram group of a particular crypto influencer. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is because the moment I said position yourself correctly inside the market space. So there's a crypto influencer, I'm not going to reveal what his name is, that is on TikTok and on X and so many other platforms. And he created a video. And he said that the next clientele inside the crypto space are institutional clientele. Yes. And then he went on to say that you've got to position yourself correctly inside the market space, which he ended up following by saying, aim for meme coins and forget about utility. This crypto influencer was telling his viewers and new people inside the crypto space, his own followers, and he was telling new people inside the crypto space that the world is transforming into a digital space and that we're getting institutional investors coming inside the crypto space. So he's fully aware that we're getting institutional investors. Finally, people are starting to wake up. I was the first one, as Kyo mentioned, since last year I was mentioning that 2024 was going to be happening. But he starts mentioning institutional investors are coming inside the crypto space, which he follows by saying, forget about utility coins, go for meme coins, which made me basically put a response as, you know, I'm waiting for the day that science reaches a certain level where you can basically donate brain cells to people because a lot of people need them. How can you say institutions are coming inside the crypto space? Forget about utility, go for camel token. What institution in his world, genuine question, what institution in his world is lining up to buy camel token or frog token or cat token or zebra token? Can you see genuinely BlackRock lining up to buy camel token instead of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, Solana, AVAX, Chainlink, TON, No, BlackRock apparently in his mind wants to go for Camel token, or Franklin Templeton wants to go for Zebra token apparently, not for Solana, AVAX, or XRP. Or Goldman Sachs wants to enter the crypto space as an institution and go for CAT token instead of going for Chainlink or TON or XRP. How deluded do you have to be to tell your followers that? So this is why I said, I'm genuinely, it's not even a joke, I'm genuinely waiting for the day science is able to get to a certain level where you can start donating brain cells to people. I might even put him number one on my list to donate some brain cells to him. Because what kind of an idiot says institutions are coming inside the crypto space? Forget about utility, go for meme coins. Some people shouldn't have a platform. And I know, yes, we live in a world of free speech. But for crying out loud, some people need to use their common sense. God gave everybody common sense. I don't know why some people refuse to use common sense. God gave everybody common sense. Stop refusing to use your common sense. Use it. It's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit everybody around you and society in general. Start using the common sense you have. Now, the bank's forecast is built on the premises that Trump essentially. So Standard Chartered Bank, this is why it came to me, because Standard Chartered Bank's analysts essentially talking about how the next clientele is going to be institutional clientele, and that people need to be essentially, they're trying to give you a heads up. Standard Chartered Bank is trying to give you a heads up. Next clientele, institutions. What I'm trying to say is position yourself perfectly for institutional money. If you're positioned correctly in utility projects, then institutional money is more likely to be entering into the crypto projects that you're holding on to. They're not going to be entering into Zebra token or Camel token. Standard Chartered recent analysis suggests that essentially Ether contagion of favorable political outcomes as the US elections, and that institutional investors, play a pivotal role in the cryptocurrency markets. Jeffrey highlights that increased institutional investments in Ethereum could lead to substantial price appreciation, which is possible, very possible. Institutions often bring large scales of capital, which is facts. Institutions bring a lot of capital to the table. The best part about their capital, when it enters a crypto project, it most likely stays within that crypto project for minimum 5 years, because that's what they're seeing their projection as, 5 years ahead. And it adds credibility. It's facts. Whenever you hear on the news, this institution is building on this crypto project, it adds credibility to that crypto project. It's facts. Or when you see this institution is partnering with this blockchain project and it's going to be building a tokenization fund and so on, it's going to add credibility. They add a lot of things, institutions, which can stabilize prices and attract more investors inside the market space. Facts. When BlackRock does movements inside the market space, everybody listens. State Street does movements, everybody listens. Blackstone does movements, everybody listens. Franklin Templeton does movements, Goldman Sachs does movements, list goes on, everybody listens. It's facts. As of now, the US spot Ethereum ETFs have not gathered as much attention as their Bitcoin counterparts. However, there is a growing anticipation that interest from Wall Street that could surge in the coming months. Capital Markets Managing Partner predicts that Ethereum ETFs might gain significant traction within the next 6 to 10 months, providing investors with regulated and essentially accessible avenues to gain exposure to Ethereum. It's possible that Ethereum could do some numbers, can reach possibly $10,000, but it's on the guess, on the basis. Standard Chartered Bank saying Trump has to win for Ethereum to see $10,000 by the end of next year. Trump doesn't win, Ethereum can kiss goodbye to $10,000, basically, is what they're trying to say. Now, moving away from essentially that particular news to the next news, which we're going to talk about tonight's live, is regarding Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi investments, the United Arab Emirates. There's a lot of investments happening there inside the crypto space, which we're going to talk about next. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. As I said, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, go for it inside the comment section. I read everybody's comments one by one and give you a response. They are waiting for the rest. Yeah, I agree. Me, Camel, yeah, Camel was the one that essentially posted it. No, I'm not the influencer. I am the one that posted it. That's true. Yes, Camel's the one that posted inside the Telegram group. Someone says TikTok shop. William says doesn't matter. They're walking dead, dead's place in society to annoy people. Got to be grounded and ignore them. Yes, but the reason why I mention people like that moron is not because I'm annoyed. I mention it so other people don't fall for his moronic opinions. Because yes, the CMF is intelligent. Everybody inside the CMF is. I have full faith for everybody inside the CMF that you're going to do incredibly well in life. You know, everybody in my point of view, everybody inside the CMF is going to do incredibly well for themselves. But there are people who watch this live who are not inside the CMF. And by the way, if anybody wants to join the CMF, it's completely free for life. And yeah, but why I mentioned those types of people on this live is because people who are new to the crypto space would watch that live and assume what he's saying must be gospel. So if somebody new is watching this live, me mentioning that debunks that moronic opinion. So if they do come across that video somewhere down the line and they're new inside the crypto space, they remember they saw this live where I was telling people he's a moron, don't listen to him. That's why I was saying it. But I'm not saying it because, you know, those people are trying to annoy me in any sort of way. I'm saying it because I'm shielding people who are new inside the crypto space. If they do come across videos like that, they can remember this live and say to themselves, oh, I remember that this person's a moron because he's not using common sense. That's why I mention it. CZ had a speech. So I know everybody inside the CMF is going to do excellent, incredibly well in life. The new people who are watching, I don't know where their positions are at. CZ had a speech in there yesterday as well. Now, Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi Investments Firms unveils US Treasuries-backed digital fund with Ethereum and IOTA. Two firms based in Abu Dhabi, the UAE capital, have launched an investment fund that will tokenize US Treasuries on the IOTA and Ethereum networks. Neurovision Wealth Management and Realize. Essentially, what's interesting about this particular essentially launch that's happening in Abu Dhabi with tokenized funds, which is happening quite a lot of places, they're releasing a token about it as well. So, announced their new investments vehicles, and as essentially reported by retainers, the fund dubbed Realize T-Bills Fund will purchase units of exchange-traded funds ETFs that focus on US Treasury bills, and then convert them into tokens that investors can buy, hold, and easily transfer on IOTA and Ethereum's. And Realize's co-founder by IOTA founder also will be charged with tokenizing the ETFs, while Neurovision will manage the funds. According to retainers' reports, the fund will initially only focus on State Street's SPDR and BlackRock's iShares, two of the biggest ETFs on Wall Street. Realize will also issue RBILL tokens on two blockchains, with each token representing units in the fund and underlying assets of their US Treasury bill ETFs. In an interview with retainers, the CEO of the company revealed that the goal is to grow the fund to $200 million, making it one of the largest in the space. According to data from essentially real-world assets, the total value of tokenized treasuries on various blockchains is currently around $2.36 billion, despite the 2.3% dip in the past week. BlackRock is the outright leader in the sector, following up this trend, dominating every crypto essentially in its involvements, including Bitcoin ETFs. BlackRock's launched essentially their build, its first tokenized fund, in March this year on Ethereum. Since then, it has surged and become the biggest in the sector with a value of $550 million at press time. Franklin Templeton, another financial giant, also launched their second with their essentially FOBXX fund with $435 million, while USDY, a tokenized fund from Ondo Finance, is third, ranking $405 million. Blockchain networks have focused on NFTs with the point of becoming the most active sectors inside the industry. Now, obviously, I've said this many times, NFTs were NFTs were introduced in a very bad way inside the crypto space at the beginning. At the beginning, when people were selling pictures of monkeys and rocks and dogs and cats as NFTs, I said it's a stupid idea. And I said NFT's main purpose is supposed to be for documentations, for asset movements and so on, not for pictures of cats, dogs, and so on. Which comes back to this. However, with tokenization becoming more widespread, more players are exploring NFTs that represent actual value, real world value. This is the market that Realize and its partners target. They also stated that the goal is to bring NFT assets on chain, T-bills on the most liquid assets today in the real world. They're also going to be doing the best forms of collateral, paying around 5%. The new fund is the first of its kind from Abu Dhabi's companies. Commenting on the developments, the Chief Market Development Officer of Abu Dhabi, essentially Global Markets, described it as an important initiative in asset tokenizations and underscores our commitment to innovation. He added, as tokenized investment funds adhering to regulatory standards, it positions the international financial center of Abu Dhabi of the United Arab Emirates as a global leader in real-world assets and tokenizations, and we look forward to their contributions to our vibrant ecosystem. So, there's a token coming out. I don't know if it's going to be essentially available to the public straight away, or if it's going to be only through their T-bill fund market space, but it's going to be named RB, essentially IL. And that's going to be coming out from Realize. It's going to be coming out from the United Arab Emirates. They're essentially only investing into BlackRock funds and State Street funds. Their aim is to reach $200 million. They have full licensing from Dubai to be operational. The same person behind IOTO, essentially blockchain, is the same person that created this project as well. So that was basically, let's just see what happens with that project moving forward. But they are going to be releasing a token as well, if anybody wants to go check them out. They're regulated, and it's the same person that created, essentially the founder of the IOTO project as well. Now, what we're going to talk about next is Eric Trump. Somebody we rarely talk about on this live. Mostly when it comes to Trump, we talk about Trump. Not about Eric Trump, but we're going to talk about him next. But before we do, let's consider the comment section first. Once again, this is a live, which means if you do have any comments, put them down inside the comment section. More than happy to answer any questions you may have. See, the government doesn't need to know where I spend my money. I agree. 100% facts. Got your brother. Got your brother. No problem, William. Now, Eric Trump. Eric Trump to speak at the Bitcoin MENA event in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai. Sorry, not in Abu Dhabi, in the United Arab Emirates. So, Trump obviously can't travel to Abu Dhabi at this massive Bitcoin event that's going to be happening, but he is sending his son. Again, this just shows how one candidate is very pro-crypto, where they're sending their own family members to Bitcoin conferences and crypto conferences in general. But Bitcoin MENA has announced Eric Trump as a keynote speaker at this upcoming conference on December 9th and 10th, 2024. At the world-renowned ADNEC Center in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. This announcement underscores the conference's growing influence and highlights Abu Dhabi's emerging role as a central hub in the global Bitcoin and cryptocurrency economy. Eric Trump's participation signals a significant milestone for Bitcoin's MENA 2024, bringing a wealth of business acumen and leadership's experience to growing Bitcoin's adoption in the Middle East. Following Donald J. Trump's appearance at the Bitcoin 2024 event in Nashville that happened this year, the Trump family has shown increasing support for Bitcoin and crypto assets as a way to combat inflation inside the United States. While also accepting donations of Bitcoin for his upcoming campaign, Eric Trump's involvement is expected to draw considerable attention from global medias and influential business leaders as a prominent figure in both businesses and politics. His insights are expected to essentially resonate with the conference focus on Bitcoin's role in shaping the future of finance and the region, cryptocurrencies in general. Bitcoin MENA 2024 countries to attract key figures from across many industries, such as the Prince of Serbia is going to be there at this event. The author of the Bitcoin Standard, the blockchain center's Abu Dhabi officials are going to be there. This announcement is another step to further solidify Abu Dhabi's status as a leading player in the new gold rush for digital finance. With wealth of energy resources, substantial financial reserves, and forward-thinking approach to innovation, the UAE is positioned to lead the next phase of global Bitcoin adoptions, with top global and regional voices set to ignite the Bitcoin community. With breaking announcements, Bitcoin MENA will offer attendees essentially unparalleled opportunities to network with industry leaders and explore technologies and innovations across the Bitcoin ecosystem. From exclusive VIP experiences to dynamic expo halls, the event is set to define the moment for Bitcoin adoption in the Middle East. So even though he can't essentially attend, Trump can't obviously attend an Abu Dhabi event for Bitcoin, a massive event that's something for Bitcoin, he is still sending his son. It just shows that, one side is very pro crypto when the other side is very silent when it comes to crypto. Now, what we're going to talk about next is Paxos. Paxos partners with Singapore DBS Bank to introduce a new stablecoin. And here are the details. Paxos, a leader in blockchain and tokenization infrastructures, has introduced a global dollar, a new US dollar-backed stablecoin that aims to promote global stablecoin adoption. We're getting stablecoins left, right, and center, and we barely have regulations for them. Issued by Paxos Digital Singapore, essentially limited, USDG is regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore and is aligned with Singapore's upcoming stablecoin framework. USDG is designed to meet the standards of the regulated institutions, promising a one-to-one parity with the US dollar and backed by high-quality liquid assets, including dollar deposits and short-term US government securities. A bank, DBS Bank, Singapore, is coming out with their own stablecoin. The token is initially available on Ethereum, with plans to expand to other blockchains soon. USDG stability is developed through a strict partnership with DBS Bank in Southeast Asia, which will serve as a primary banking essentially partner for cash management and custody of USDG reserves. DBS will hold US dollars reserves and allow USDG holders to redeem tokens for fiat currencies at the time. Paxos' product manager, Ronak Daya, emphasized the firm's focus on institutional adoption. USDG offers a trusted solution with top-tier banking partners in DBS Bank that will be the catalyst to drive stablecoin innovation and institutions essentially globally. USDG is the latest addition to Paxos' growing suite of regulated digital assets, which includes PayPal's USD, Paxos Dollar, Paxos Gold, and all issued under the supervision of the New York Department of Financial Services. In addition, Paxos Abu Dhabi-based subsidiary Paxos International issues a yield-generating Lift Dollar stablecoin. These assets are essentially consistently providing clients with reliable one-to-one asset ratios under strict regulatory frameworks. So, DBS Bank essentially is coming up, is just from perspective as well. It's not DBS Bank themselves that are coming out with a stablecoin. Paxos is coming out with a new stablecoin in Singapore. Just to rephrase it better, Paxos is coming out with a new stablecoin from Singapore. They needed somebody to be the custody for that asset. They chose DBS Bank to be the backbone of holding those assets essentially for Singapore. DBS Bank is also a partner of Ripple. And what does Ripple have? Institutional grade custody services. Now, moving away from essentially DBS Bank, Paxos' new stablecoin being introduced in Singapore with a bank. That bank ironically uses a institutional custody service from Ripple. Now what we're going to talk about, moving away from that news to Canada. Canada, another essentially corporation in Canada has decided to follow the blueprint left behind by MicroStrategy. And it goes back to what I said. Institutions tend to follow each other's footsteps. Another Canadian public company adapts MicroStrategy's playbook. Control Technologies, a Canadian public company that provides various solutions linked to smart buildings and smart cities, has announced the addition of Bitcoin to its balance sheets. The company has purchased so far $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and it plans to continue buying cryptocurrencies in the future with its cash flows and treasury assets, adapting a MicroStrategy-like strategy. Nice wordplay there. But that is what it's basically happening right now. This is what's going to be in 2025. We're going to have so many institutions inside the crypto space. It's going to be unreal in 2025. The shares of Control Technologies Corp instrument symbol is KNR-NE, and they're up already 4.88% based just on that announcement. Control CEO Paul took note of the cryptocurrency's growing institutional adoption in his statements, arguing that essentially it is the right time for the company to jump into Bitcoin train or cryptocurrencies in general. The company essentially decision to put money into Bitcoin might raise some eyebrows, given that it is focused on sustainable energy and efficiency. Some might also argue that such an investment might undermine its goal of advancing green buildings, given that Bitcoin is widely known as a major energy hog. So the company that's based in Canada, a public company, has decided to invest into Bitcoin. This public company based in Canada is obviously a green company, carbon footprint company, trying to save, electricity, trying to save the planet from heating up. And this company is now investing into Bitcoin. It just should speak volumes, because just to put in perspective, this is a type of company. Control Technologies is a type of company that will do conferences, do news journalist articles, and even do speeches where they tell the entire world everybody should go green, everybody should care about their footprints, everybody regarding their carbon footprint, everybody should save the planet is heating up. This is the type of company this company is. It's the type of company that tells everybody else to walk everywhere and save electricity, save the planet, and don't let the planet heat up. At the same time, a company that does those kinds of things is now investing into Bitcoin. Bitcoin mining isn't really eco-friendly, depending on what's happening around the world, but it just shows it's all about money. This whole campaign regarding the planet's heating up is an absolute load of BS. It's just called nature, and it shows institutions when they show that when institutions reveal their hand, it's always nice to see. So the company's decision to put money into Bitcoin might raise some eyebrows, given that it's focused on sustainable energy and efficiency in saving the planet. Some might argue that such an investment might undermine its goal of advancing green buildings. It won't. Even though it should undermine its goals, and people should look in this company and go, wow, what is this company doing? They're supposed to be saving the planet. I'll tell you for a fact, people are so brain dead. A lot of people are so lost. Let me rephrase. A lot of people are so lost in this world, they won't be able to comprehend that. Bitcoin is widely known as a major energy hog. However, it's also been noted that Bitcoin mining is becoming increasingly green, apparently, with miners using such renewable energy sources as solar panels and wind. It's mostly normal electricity. Apart from adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet, Control Technologies is also exploring potential partnerships in the mining sector to also utilize surplus energy or powering building infrastructures. The company has yet to secure any agreements of this kind. In other news, business intelligence firm MicroStrategy was also given $40 billion as well. Now, moving away from a company in Canada, it just goes back, circling back to what I said, essentially, that corporations tend to follow each other, and another company has just decided to follow MicroStrategy's footsteps. Now, and this company is essentially a save the planet type of company, which is now investing into Bitcoin. But moving away from that news moving away from the hypocrisy, let's just say, to CBDC news, but an interesting type of CBDC news. Hawaii. If you don't know what Hawaii is a mobile manufacturer. They make mobiles, they make smartphones, they make essentially laptops and so on. They're in the technology sector and some other sectors as well, but the sector that we know them for is technology. Hawaii is a Chinese company, it's a Chinese state company. They actually have government links in China, Hawaii, for a long time. Now, Hawaii was banned inside the United States because the United States claimed that China was using Huawei mobile phones, Huawei smartphones, to spy on American citizens. The Huawei smartphones, up to a certain extent, are also banned in the EU and in the UK up to a certain extent. In the UK, you can't buy Huawei smartphones from Huawei directly. You can only buy their laptops, not their smartphones. You'll probably find them on eBay, but to buy from an actual shop brand new, they don't sell it. They're not supposed to. So it turns out with the US essentially mentioning that Huawei is going to be using their phones to spy on people, and that UK said the same thing, and the US, in the EU said the same thing. They weren't lying, but it goes beyond that. Huawei is going to be implementing CBDCs in their phones, not just through software, through hardware as well. The Chinese yuan CBDC is going to be implemented in the #1 selling smartphone in China, Huawei. It's going to be implemented in their essentially hardware of their phone and in the software of their phone. There's also something that can happen in this side of the world as well. One day, for example, you can hear it on the news, Apple has decided to implement CBDC wallets in iPhones. It can happen. If Huawei is doing it for China, Apple could most likely do it for the US, and they can make a lot of money because the government will be behind that project. So next iPhones that get shipped, they could come with CBDC wallets. So here's a glimpse of your future inside the West, of something that's happening right now in China. Huawei integrates digital yuan CBDCs into their next, essentially, Huawei phones. The Chinese telecommunications company Huawei is integrating the digital yuan central bank digital currency CBDC into its operating systems. And by the way, Huawei has 1 billion users. 1 billion smartphone users Huawei has in China. So just in case nobody can afford the new phone of Huawei with the hardware of CBDCs, everybody who owns a pre-existing CBDC, everybody who owns a pre-existing Huawei phone in China can get the CBDC update still on their Huawei phone from Huawei's manufacturer. According to the local press releases in China, the integration will make the digital currency more accessible and easier to use for up to 1 billion smartphone owners. Of course it will. Because instead of making people sign up to CBDC wallets, why not make the manufacturers send an update for a CBDC wallet? The Harmony OS Next operating system, otherwise known as Harmony OS 5.0 upgrade, which was introduced essentially on October 22nd, is its third Huawei operating system that is the first it developed itself. It is also essentially the third most popular operating system in the world after Android and iOS. Unlike previous versions, Huawei OS Next will also host many apps on native to Huawei, essentially Harmony's OS. Huawei developed Harmony OS after Google banned the company in 2019 following the US government imposing sanctions on the company. Harmony OS was first used in smart TVs and smart watches, reaching telephones in 2021. Plans were made at the time essentially to integrate a digital yuan into the Huawei phones. Now that has happened. In 2021, they started working on CBDC wallets for smartphones in China. 2024, so fast forward to now, they're coming out with the update. 1 billion users, 1 billion users in China are going to get a CBDC wallet overnight like this. That's crazy to think about it. They started, tiptoeing into CBDCs, slowly expanding into CBDCs. Some people didn't like CBDCs in China and so on. But now it's not optional. 1 billion users are about to, in China, receive a CBDC wallet like this through their phones. The digital yuan will be further also integrated into the chips and modules of equipments and operating systems of the Internet of Things, according to many sources as well. The CBDC is not going to be stopping just from smartphones. No. Laptops, tablets, phones, smartwatches, they're all getting CBDC updates, CBDC chips, CBDC upgrades, hardware CBDC, software CBDC. They're all updates. Now that essentially has happened, users will not need to download the digital yuan app to use CBDCs, because people in China didn't want to sign up to, because in China you had to download your CBDC app. You had to go to the app store on your Chinese phone essentially and download the CBDC wallet. Because there was such a slow progress on people downloading a CBDC wallet in China, China's government just thought to themselves, well, if the people don't want to download it, we're just going to give it to them instead. Remember how everyone kept on saying it's optional? CBDC is optional. It's not forced. Wallet management services and interactions with other financial apps will still be improved. The digital yuan will be further integrated into chips and modules, equipment, and operating systems. The People's Bank of China, the Central Bank of China, will have enhanced security and monitoring capabilities thanks to this integration as well. The Central Bank of China will be the backbone of monitoring everybody's transactions. 1 billion people's transactions are about to be monitored overnight. The People's Bank of China will have enhanced security and monitoring capabilities thanks to its integration. The digital yuan is making slow, steady progress on many fronts. In recent days, an event with the digital yuan was held in Beijing to coincide with 2024 China Science Fiction Conference. The digital yuan also played essentially a role in the Craft Beer Festival 2024 World Table Tennis Championship. Residents of Beijing owning 22.6 million digital wallets that were used. The International Air Transport Association announced it will begin accepting digital currencies. The digital yuan was the first to be selected. China is one of the most advanced countries in the world in adoptions of digital currencies. A senior vice president said digital yuan will be the 74th currency at the essentially IATA handles and when it starts accepting before year end. This is something that could be easily implemented in the West. I could for sure 100% see an iPhone update coming through and it says CBDC wallet. Just in case you do see that update somewhere down the line in 2025 or the end of 2024, you know where you heard it first, on the CMF Live. So if one day you open up your iPhone and then your next update mentions CBDCs, you know what's going to be happening there. What happens in China, the world follows, pretty much. Facts. Miguel was criticized because he said that the global warming is BS regarding last year. I think to buy a Huawei phone for their technology, cash is a store of value. Explain, please. Cash is a store of value. You could technically say that for every asset, but cash is no. Cash is for transfers. It's for transaction purposes. A store of value can be considered as a transaction purposes as well, but when I say transaction purposes, I mean doing payments in terms of buy and sell. Apple iPhone is not too far behind them. Facts. Do you think it is a good idea to get a Huawei mobile phone at this moment? Hell no. Huawei is, they make great phones, especially that the triple folding phone that they've made recently. Great phones, but hell no. Good night, Miles. See my family. Funky brother. See you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. But you left bad timing because I'm about to be sharing you 21 shares. 21 shares joins XRP ETF race aimed ongoing SEC scrutiny. Another company has decided to essentially join the ETF space for XRP. In a significant move within the cryptocurrency sector, 21 shares has officially filed for an exchange-traded fund ETF focused on XRP. With the US SEC, this filing submitted, it positions 21 shares as the third company to apply essentially for an XRP ETF. Following applications from Bitwise and Canary Capital, The proposed fund, named the 21 Shares Core XRP Trust, aims to provide institutional investors with the means to gain exposure to Ripple's native cryptocurrency. This development comes shortly after Ripple's CEO Brad expressed optimism that XRP ETF is going to be happening during an interview with Bloomberg. Despite the ongoing legal disputes between Ripple and the SEC centered around classification of XRP, and essentially XRP security is not, which has been clarified, which it isn't. Interest in crypto ETFs continues to grow. The SEC's previous rulings have indicated that while XRP itself is not classified as a security, the regulatory body remains cautious in the approach to approving related investment vehicles. The 21 Shares Core XRP Trust is designed to track the performance of XRP and will be listed on the Chicago exchange, with Coinbase Custody Trust essentially serving as the custodian for the fund asset. This filing reflects a broader trend among asset managers looking to expand their access to cryptocurrency investments through regulated products. Earlier this year, 21 Shares also essentially attempted to launch a Solana ETF, although their application faced challenges. The SEC was reluctant to approve new ETFs tied to XRP stems from its essentially protracted legal battles with Ripple, which has been both parties appealing various rulings. Nevertheless, the recent ruling by Judge Anansi Torres declaring that XRP is not a security is a program of sales has provided some clarity that could influence future decisions by the SEC. If approved, this ETF would mark a significant step for cryptocurrency investment products inside the United States and potentially become the third crypto-based ETF launched this year. Following the successful approvals of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs earlier 2024, as interest in crypto ETF surges, industry leaders remain hopeful that regulatory frameworks will evolve to accommodate these innovative financial instruments. So, the third XRP ETF has been filed in, which is absolutely amazing, from 21 Shares, which is incredible. And again, once again, just to mention it, if any company files in a ETF, if any institution in Wall Street or so on files an ETF, that means that their clientele is interested in that particular asset. That is the only reason they're essentially they're bothering to file an ETF. It means that their institution, that their high-profile clientele is interested in that ETF. Also, just want to point out that I'm guessing the reason why this has happened is, again, institution is not giving a complete BS about Gary Gensler's opinion, but also it's because of Grayscale. Grayscale essentially is the one, I think, making these institutions start applying for XRP ETFs. Because Grayscale took a different approach. Grayscale didn't go straight away for an XRP ETF. Grayscale created a digital large fund ETF with XRP in it. And I said yesterday, if Grayscale's ETF gets accepted, if Grayscale's large fund ETF with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, and XRP gets accepted as an ETF, then there's no reason to reject these ETFs. So Grayscale is probably the reason why this ETF filing also happened now. And there's going to be more XRP ETF filings because of Grayscale. And if Grayscale's ETF gets accepted, there's going to be a hell of a lot more XRP ETF filings happening. Because there's no reason to reject them at all. Because that's an XRP ETF in a large fund, and that's an XRP ETF, same asset, no difference. Absolutely amazing to hear. So that is an indication also that we've reached the endings of tonight's live as well. If you're watching this for the first time ever, this was the CMF Live, and it stands for Crypto Mouse Family. My name is Miles. I go by the persona Crypto Mouse, hence the name of this live, CMF. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And if you're watching this for the first time ever, you enjoyed this live, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching this on X, follow, retweet, comment, like, share. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe if you already haven't, and join. Also, if you're watching this on X, join the communities page of this live as well, the CMF live. Join the communities page. It's on my portfolio. So it's on my profile on X. Join the CMF. It's completely free. And join the CMF on Telegram as well. The link is on X and on YouTube. If you can't find it, direct message me. I'll tell you how to essentially enter the CMF. It's completely free for life. And on this live, we talked about 21 shares, XRP ETF. We talked about Huawei, essentially CBDCs. We talked about Canadian company following the footsteps of MicroStrategy or institutions following each other's footsteps. We talked about Paxos and DBS Bank, essentially a stablecoin. We talked about Eric Trump doing a Bitcoin event. We went through the news topic of Abu Dhabi and the T fund situation that's going on. We also talked about ETH could potentially reach $10,000, a report coming from Standard Chartered Bank. We talked about UBS launching a first tokenized investment fund in Ethereum. We also went through the news topic on tonight's live regarding US Treasury backing crypto assets on their reports. We also went through the news topic on tonight's live regarding Metamask and consensus on their claims on the SEC. We also went through the news topic on Coinbase's reports, some added extras on their reports. And we went through the topic of JP Morgan analysts publishing their fourth report on Bitcoin. Also, we talked about on tonight's live regarding a perspective coming from a digital chamber CEO on the market space. So this was the CMF live. Drop follow. This was the CMF live. Follow, comment, share if you already haven't. What is your pick? Okay, let's go inside the comment section quick. Let's see what's going on here before we go off, because we had some comments. Good at Miles, the CMF. Thank you, see tomorrow, sometimes usual, brother. Thanks, Miles. All the information. God bless you and the crypto family. William, let's go. See you tomorrow, William. Sometimes usual. Share the live, Miles. I've been on a roll tonight. Let's go, Scott. What's your opinion on VCO? VCO sounds very familiar. Direct message me. Let me take a look into it. Sounds familiar. Good night. Time to turn off my CMF TV as usual. You did a great job, Miles. Thank you so much for the devotion. It's remarkable. What a commitment to this live show you do every day. Be blessed, my friend. Let's go. Carl, see you tomorrow, brother. Same time as usual. Forging ahead. Facts regarding XRP. Absolutely facts. It's a flow on effort amongst institutions. Facts. Yeah. Guess that could be a way to introduce CBDCs. Just an update to the phone. You have already. Yeah, definitely. It's all ripple effect then. Yep. Thanks. Great live as always. Camel, let's go. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Thanks, Miles. Good night. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow sometimes as usual as well. I couldn't go before hearing the XRP news. Thank you, Miles. Thank you, brother. Let's go. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Thanks, Legend. Love your work. Let's go, Shelly. Shelly, see you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. Can't wait for the XRP ETF and the hedge funds. Let's go, Carl. Night and day to all CMF. Let's go. Miles is free. He gives us great daily effort. Share the live if you enjoyed it. Meet us in Dubai in 2025 or 2026. Let's go, Scott. Thank you, Miles, for another intriguing and interesting live. We appreciate it, and thank you, sharing your valuable time. Joe, thanks so much for the kind words. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles, and all the CMF. Thank you for the news. JP, let's go. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles, the CMF. Thanks for the great live. Free forever. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Have a good night and day, Miles and CMF. Thanks again, Miles. Ghost Brother, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual, 11:25 p.m. onwards, UK time. If you haven't followed, if you haven't subscribed, follow, subscribe, retweet, like. Let's go. CMF, I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.